Hey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's going on? How we doing? How we doing? Um, yeah, it's a little early. It's 6 o'clock. Well, we got a ball game tonight. 8 o'clock game. Kids got an 8 o'clock game, so it's a Wednesday. I would have been down here probably between 7 and 8 anyway. So thought I'll do this at 6. We'll knock it out, get it over with, and then I get to go watch my grandson play a little baseball again tonight. They had all these so many rainout games. It's not even funny. But I don't know if we're going to be able to make them up before All-Stars start. That's probably what we're going to run into. But anyway, hey, so let me read you a passage so we can understand something. I don't think a lot of people understand how you should roll in life. For me, I try. I'm not saying I do it all the time, but I come as close as I possibly can by living my life through the Bible, by the Bible, and what the Bible says. Watch this here. The Bible in Romans 13-7, it says, "Let everyone be subject to the governing authority, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist has been instituted by God." So in other words, that passage is basically telling you to follow the rules of the land. Follow the rules of the land. That's what that Bible is telling you. That's what that passage is telling you to do. And I believe that. I believe we should follow the rules of this land. And if the rules of this land is saying that you cannot just come to the United States, whether there's a sanctuary city or not, those are the rules. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. I believe in what the Bible says. I do everything I possibly can do now to live my life by that book. By that book. I check if I done something, if something happens, if I do something, I go to my book, I look at it, I read it, okay. I say that to say this here. Apparently, somebody don't understand, and let me make sure that we're all on the same page here. If, and for those who are just following me and didn't hear this early on, my stance on ICE and the immigration situation, let me clear it up right here, right now for you. Black folks ain't got nothing to do with this. I've said it once, I'll say it again. If ICE rolls into town, ICE just rolls into town. Period, point blank. I've said it over and over. I don't want to see no black folks. I don't want to see no black folks out protesting. This isn't our fight. We have nothing to do with this. You heard what the Bible says. The Bible says we have to obey the law. Period, point blank. Hey, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about what I just said. If ICE is in here doing a job, oh well. That ain't got nothing. That's got nothing to do with Rev Christopher, and that ain't got nothing to do with the black community. Nothing. We stay as far away from that as we possibly can. Period. If you're here and you jumped over the fence or came through a tunnel or you came on a plane and you know that you have no business being here, if ICE shows up, ain't nothing I can do. There's nothing I can say. You knew. You knew you was breaking the law. So there's no reason for me to stand in front of a truck because you broke the law. That's not going to happen. And no other black person should be out there doing that. Now, if everybody else want to do it, go for it. But this ain't our fight. We ain't got nothing to do with this ICE thing at all. And that's clear as day. So let's make sure we all on the same page there. I believe in what the law says. And in the book that I read every single day, it tells me to obey that law. So I have to obey the law. And that law says if you break it, you're going to get punished. You're going to be sent back home. But let me say this also. If you come here the right way and you're doing the things that you're supposed to do to be here, and you need a little bit of help, the same book that tells us to obey the law is the same book that tells us to take care of the downtrodden, correct? That same book tells us to take care of the poor, correct? I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. See, if you're gonna be one of those who wants to criticize me, make sure you're criticizing in the right way. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's start off with this person. Start off with this one. Okay. So her gripe with me, show you what she says. This is what she says. I'll let y'all read it. One thing I don't tolerate is this. And then she said, unfollowed. Okay. I always tell people to come in like they came. Just go. He's running with Brad Kohler. And is not what Minnesota needs. Why would she say that? I said, I'm watching it, and this is just to give the right wing something to talk about. Here's the problem with that situation with her. When you don't realize or understand something that happens at the bottom, or even something that happens at the top, and you always about what happens in the middle. Let me explain something to each and every one of you. If I come to you and I tell you something, it's because I know. Not because I think, not because I heard it. It's because I know for a fact. I know how things work on Twitter. Trust me when I say that. So on yesterday, all right, I get a call. Rev, are you coming down the lake and coming down to lake here? Because they're having, and this is what I was told, they're having raids, they're having a protest, but it's a raid. And I'm sitting there going, what do you mean? Oh, well, they're saying that ICE is out here and they're doing blah, blah, blah. And I go, what are you calling me for? Exactly what I said, point blank. Said, I ain't got nothing to do with ICE. Nothing. If ICE is down there, let ICE do their job. But you need to get from down there. It was a black person. I say, you need to get from down there. Because we ain't got nothing to do with it. This isn't our fight. And we ain't fighting for nobody right now but ourselves. So I'm going to need you to come on out of there. And leave them boys alone and let them do their job. If they're down there to get somebody, that's because they broke the law. Listen to me. They broke the law, and there's no reason, and I said this point blank, there's no reason for you to be standing in between someone who broke the law and the law. I said, because the law is going to push you around. That's what's going to happen while you're down there. And then you're going to end up in jail or somewhere else. I said, but I'm not I told y'all I wasn't marching for this. And I told y'all this isn't our fight. So come up from down there and leave that situation alone. So somebody hit me up and say, hey, Rev, this is going on. I'm watching it. I'm watching what's going on. And I'm watching them push people around. And I was upset because, see, here's the part that this American lady, hold on. I want to make sure y'all understand what I'm saying, because this person right here, I got another person who's been on me all day, but she decided to unfollow me and said that I wasn't right to run with Brad as his lieutenant governor. But see, what people like that don't get is I know a little bit more than what she knows. I know a little bit more than what she knows to be able to say what I said. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't know what I knew. But this is what I do know, because you can go on my page right now. You can go on my page right now, and I put a clip out there to where a clergy member had her finger in the chest of the chief of police of Minneapolis. And why did she have her finger in the chest of the police of Minneapolis? You know why? Because he went around to churches and members and leaders in the community and said he would not work with ICE. That's what he said. And all of a sudden, he's got his men down there pushing people around. No, listen, hold on. Y'all, see, like I said, you can get mad at me for what I said if you want, but I need you to stop for 5 minutes and understand where that came from. Now, I'm not one-sided. I've never been one-sided. There's no time anybody can sit here and say that I'm one-sided. I'm not. I'm straight down the middle. I believe if you tell somebody something, if you make a promise, then you keep that promise. Whether you're breaking the law or not, that's not the point. The point that I'm making is there was that he went around, he spoke to people, and he said that he wouldn't do this here. I thought it was wrong. I don't believe in a sanctuary. There is no sanctuary cities. I don't know where that came from. I think it's just totally against every law that was written here in the state of. But Minneapolis, hey, what's up, Wass? It said Taylor was asking for basically First Amendment auditors, same as. Hold on one second. Hey, Carl.
Hey, I got Dexter on the line. He wanted to know if you wanted to chat.
You know, I got about 35 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You want to just table it for another time?
No. He can come on. I'm dealing with a situation that happened here in Minneapolis. A situation that happened here in Minneapolis on yesterday. So, but yeah, I'm good. I was just doing my normal podcast.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't want to disturb you. I just was wondering. Hold on, let me connect the call.
Yeah. Just put him on. We can chat. We can chat between.
Okay. All right. Well, he's on the line right now.
Okay. What's happening, Dex?
Hey, what's happening, bro?
Not much, not much. Hey, I was gonna hit you up on one of those other rooms that you was in, and I apologize to you for last Sunday. We was just coming for. I got my
No, that's okay.
dude. I've been running around between this trying to run for lieutenant governor and baseball. And my times and my days have gotten mixed up, and my doctor's appointments and everything. Hey, let me ask you.
Tell me.
Let me ask you a question, because we had a situation here. And this is unscripted. I didn't even know Dexter was going to be calling tonight. So now that I got him, we'll deal with this way.
Okay.
How do you feel about ICE?
About ICE?
Yeah.
You mean you talk about ICE, the actual immigration?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's a government agency. It's a government agency like any other government agency. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel any particular way about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, in other words, it has I think the thing about ICE, as opposed to other government agencies, is that like its mission isn't inherently anti-liberty, right? Whereas some other agencies kind of like, I think, really should not exist in their current form. You know, like the FDA, for example, I feel a kind of way about, because it was originally supposed to be a truth in labeling organization, a truth in labeling agency, to simply enforce that whatever is in the package is what you list on as an ingredient. Okay. Now FDA is going around saying, hey, you can't sell raw milk from your own cows to people who want to buy raw milk. And I don't agree with that at all. By contrast, ICE is like, okay, do you have a right to be here? No, you got to go.
Okay.
So its mission isn't inherently anti-liberty. Is it capable of messing up? Sure, it can screw up because it's government. But that's how I feel about ICE.
Okay. The same way I feel, right? I mean, they have a job. They have a job to do, and they should be able to do that job and not be in any way taken out or moved or anything by any other law enforcement. Correct? Because here, I'll give you where I'm going. Hold on, I'll give you where I'm going with this real quick. Okay?
Sure.
Because the police chief here in Minneapolis made a statement that he would not work with ICE, right? In any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, what happened was the ICE was on the ground here in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hang on one second.
okay.
Hey, your call. Can you mute, please, bro? I think that's Carl's.
Oh, is that Carl? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's Carl's background.
I'm trying to watch what I say because I'm trying to watch what I say because Carl will have me on that whatchamacallit thing he got.
Yeah,
so I'm trust me.
I'm not connected to it right now.
Okay. Just making sure. I'm threading the line really, because I'm sitting there going, "Is all I need is to go in this space," and the next thing you know, I'm saying something. But
Carl, the background that you heard, that they brought the space back up, but continue talking, and then once we're done with Tim, we'll go there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're in a.
Just mute your phone, please. Yeah.
Oh, we're in a space right now. Is that what you're saying?
No. We're not. We're in your space, but I'm saying, it's he is listening to the other space on his laptop.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay,
so here's
okay, so your mayor doesn't like ICE.
No. The police chief.
Like
no, the police. Well, the governor don't like it. The governor don't like ICE.
Right.
He's given them the authority to have this so-called sanctuary city, which I think it's anyway.
Right.
It's bull and what bull do. That's all I'm saying, right?
Okay.
But here's the deal.
Okay,
so the police chief told clergy, told city leaders that he would not work with ICE in no way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, ICE shows up with everybody else, FBI, ATF, everybody, to do this raid.
Yeah.
So the police chief ends up on site pushing people around after he told people that he would not do. Look, that he would not do that, and that's what people were upset about, because he told them one thing and he went and did something else.
Well, that's, to me, that's not why people should be upset, right? These people should be upset because he's not respecting jurisdictional boundaries. First of all, you're only the police chief. Calm the fuck down. The feds show up. You know, you can say I'm not going to cooperate, but you can't say like the feds can't mount a raid just because you don't like ICE. That's ridiculous. But here's the thing: if the police chief doesn't like ICE, in other words, then he has the back, and he still has his job. Then he has the backing of the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's out there on his own doing this. The mayor's on that same timeline, and presumably so is the governor. So yeah, I think that's fascinating. I would just point out, like I pointed out in an earlier space, that I think it's very funny. Walker Anderson, as I remember, is actually from Minnesota. Right?
Yeah, Walker is from here.
Okay, great. So watch this. Minnesota law enforcement has no problem cooperating with a federal agency when it comes to violating the civil rights of Minnesotans like Walker Anderson. None. Right?
Exactly. Thank you.
Because local police jumped out along with the ATF on Walker Anderson.
Thank
who wasn't
you.
doing anything wrong. Right? So again, you're all in when as long as you get to violate an American citizen's civil rights, you're all in. But if a different federal agency shows up, if a different agency shows up and they're like, hey, there's someone in the country who maybe shouldn't be here, and we need to pick him up, then now you're stonewalling.
Well, a lot of people don't even know.
That's how we know these people. That's how we know these people are full of shit.
Well, a lot of people here in Minnesota don't even know who Walker Anderson is. They don't know this kid is from Minnesota. They don't know this kid is about to get railroaded just like you do, and more than likely is about to go to prison because of what the federal government decide that they can do whatever they want when they want to. These are the things. See, these are the things that irritates me about certain people. This is what irritates me. I know Walker Anderson did not do anything at all to be having to spend the money that he has to spend to keep himself out of jail, and there's a chance that he could go to jail for doing what the Second Amendment gives him every right to do. The Second Amendment gives him that right. But this kid is about to go to jail.
Remember, the Second Amendment doesn't give him that right. He has that right.
Well, he has that right. But you're right. The Second Amendment guarantees Walker Anderson his right.
That right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to fight.
Yeah, like I said. Right.
You know.
But on the other hand, no one from another country has a constitutional right to live in this country.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
I mean, you just don't.
You don't.
We may want you as an immigrant. We may say, hey, you would make a great addition to our republic, but you don't have the right to live here. But again, that's how these Democrats do. That's how they do.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as a police chief, you don't make deals with nobody like that. You don't sit there and say, go ahead.
Well, you say as a police chief, but again, don't think about it as a police chief, because he couldn't be out there saying this shit if the mayor didn't have his back.
You got a point.
If the governor didn't have their back. Right.
Yeah.
It's not like, right? Because he can't just jump out and say, bah, 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 bah. He has a boss. So my question is, what does your boss think? You know what I'm saying? So that's the real problem. Is you have all across. It's not just the police chief; it's across the board. Your political leadership, okay, has lost the plot, has lost the thread entirely. That's what the problem is.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, it all I guess rolls downhill. I think it was just, to me, there's no way in the world I would let that happen. There's no way.
Right.
But come to find out, the whole operations, I guess, was them going in on a drug raid or something like this. Nobody was arrested or anything of that sort. So I look at this situation and go, if they're going to raid some place like that, then why aren't they down? Why aren't they in the black community raiding houses on Penn and 36th, 37th, 38th? If you're going to roll in like that, I need you to roll in. That's what pisses me off. I know they know what a fentanyl is. Roll in, come downtown, come to North Minneapolis like you came to South Minneapolis. Exactly the same way. I want to see the trucks. I want to see the ATF. I want to see the police. I want to see I want to see the FBI. I want all of them rolling in like a military.
I don't want them rolling. No, see, that's where we disagree.
On drugs?
All that shit is not. No, on whatever. Doesn't matter. Look. First of all, I'd have to know some more about the reason ICE was there in the first place.
Well, I don't know why ICE was there. Nobody really knows why ICE was there.
Okay, so before we talk about, let's have more of this, we have to know what this actually is.
Right.
Okay. So in other words, that's like saying, well, if ATF and NYPD could bust into my door, why didn't they bust into someone else's door? And I'm saying, well, but if they busted into my door they busted down my door on some bullshit, which they did.
Yeah.
I don't want that happening elsewhere.
Well, no, I understand what you're saying.
And the fact, if your local police had their shit together, you wouldn't need the ATF or ICE or anywhere or the
Bingo.
Anywhere. You wouldn't need that. In other words, first of all, FBI is not supposed to be rolling out on local crime matters. They're not supposed to be doing that. We don't want a government like that, because that would mean the FBI, and look, even as relatively small as the FBI is, FBI has been doing dirt forever. You and I both know about COINTELPRO. So FBI has been doing all kind of shit forever. Now we want them blowing up on people in cities because of some. No. What we need to do is get rid of the political leadership in these cities, right, and in these states, right, and get some people who understand how to actually solve problems. And to me, that's a better strategy than calling for federal law enforcement to just jump out kinetically on what may be a local crime problem. Now, on the other hand, if it is really that, like, for example, a Mexican cartel is using some joint in some neighborhood that you know about as a transshipment point, that's different.
Right.
Because now that directly touches on interstate commerce and immigration, all that shit. But if it's just people slinging,
yeah, but it's out of hand.
That's a local police matter.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. We don't have the police that could actually do the job, do what needs to be done on these local drug dealers and things of that sort. So we need here.
Why do you say that?
Because we don't have enough. We don't have enough police. We don't have enough.
Really?
No, really. I'm being dead serious.
How many sworn LEOs do you have in the city?
Oh man,
in Minneapolis.
I think we're under 300.
Wait. For the entire city of Minneapolis?
Yeah, I'm being dead serious.
I mean, maybe I don't know how big Minneapolis is.
It's pretty big.
Like a small number.
It is a small number.
Okay. I mean, what's the population of Minneapolis?
I don't. You know what? I don't even know.
That's the first question.
It's
how many
it's
policemen
big.
policing how many people?
Yeah. No,
I mean, I respect it.
they can't. They
I would
can't.
expect it to millions. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't hire police. They can't get police. We had so many police leave that, I mean, it would take half of the unit squad to, you know, start going around busting these drug houses and things of that sort. So
What's the biggest retention for? I know you're saying they're having a problem with retention, with holding on to officers. What's the biggest reason why people leave?
Well, after the George Floyd thing, they all fled. They left like you wouldn't believe.
Okay.
Dude. It was gone. And so now, you know, these guys are working double, triple shifts, you know, because they don't have enough. And if you set a task force up to, you know, go after these drug houses, then they're not going to have enough cops to roll out on the streets. So you would have to bring in your FBI. What they rolled down in South Minneapolis on yesterday, exactly how they rolled down in South Minneapolis, they need to roll like that in North Minneapolis. The problem with them doing what they did in South Minneapolis isn't a bad area. What the area they were in did not take what the force that they showed yesterday. It didn't take that at all.
Well, who were they rolling out? Well, who were they rolling out against?
It was a Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
And apparently, you know, from what the scuttlebutt is now, the rest it was a drug related situation. It wasn't an immigration thing.
Okay.
But we were sitting there going,
Okay.
a Mexican restaurant, and you saying it's drug, and we haven't heard anything. So everybody's sitting back and we're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 580 sworn officers is what we have right now. They usually had what, 730? Yeah. So
okay.
I want to see what they had down in South Minneapolis. I want that to roll through North Minneapolis. Exactly how they had it.
Yeah, I don't.
They didn't have to have that.
Again,
Well, we just had. Well, I'll give you another example.
You have 1 minute left.
So, oh shoot. Are you gonna call back?
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna drop and come back.
Okay. All right. Do that.
Yeah. All right.
The caller has hung up.
I didn't even know Dexter was going to be hanging out with us tonight. But you know, hey, I didn't get him Sunday. Sunday we was all the way over in Wisconsin, baseball game, so I wasn't able to get Dexter then. But I know that, like I said, we disagree on this here situation. But like I said, when you walk in the streets and you seen some of the stuff that I see, and with that young girl that got shot on, which I did reach out to her dad. Matter of fact, I got her. I'm gonna be meeting her dad next week. The young girl who was shot in the head, and I put her GoFundMe on there. So hey, look, people, if you could help out a little bit, I'm gonna repost her GoFundMe again. If you can help in any way, shape, or form, these people to funeralize their little girl, I'll definitely appreciate it. I'll bow down to you. I'll thank you very much for doing that with everything. But I believe in policing. I believe in police. I come from a police family. Both my three uncles are police, and down in Memphis, Tennessee, Shelby County, Tennessee, Germantown. Oh, call just hung up. We'll get him back in a second. But I believe in policing. But there's a way you can do police. I believe what happened on yesterday. Apparently, they had 8 other raids. Didn't hear anything about it. You ain't heard nothing about those. There's raids that go on throughout the city, and you don't hear a word about it. But when you come into, especially down there, look, you can go, and people always talk about, well, you can't go. There are certain places you can't go in Minneapolis. That's just how it works. But there's places like over there where they had that little situation that went on. You can go down there with no problem. So the people are sitting there going, why are you coming in here with all of this stuff? You know why? Like I said, you know where I want to see that? I would have no problem if they rolled through Broadway. Go up Broadway. What I need them to do, exactly what they did the other day, how they rolled down the street really slow to give everybody the opportunity to get mad, to get upset, to throw garbage cans and all of that type of stuff, and actually put tires in front of the vehicle. They was moving that slow for a reason. I want to see that. Take that up to Broadway. There's a young lady that died in Boom Island just a couple nights ago in Minneapolis. She got shot. With everything. No disrespect, but the raids were talked about. Yeah, they were talked about, but nobody knew about them like they knew this one. Like other raids that I see, that I've witnessed with my eyes right there in Minneapolis, right across the street from my church. All of a sudden, boom, they're in and they're out. It's like that. Most raids, and you know that, Chaz, most raids are like this. They don't take all day. They don't drive down the street at 10 miles an hour while people are screaming and yelling at them. They had a raid on a store right across the street there on Lowry. And we're standing there in the parking lot watching this thing go down. They were in and out. They went it, they hit it, boom, gone. They didn't stick around. They didn't stick around long enough for a crowd to show up and things like that. That's how they do it. That's how raids are done. They get in there fast and they get out fast. They get what they want and they're gone. These boys are gone. A blink of an eye. But if they want to roll down the street like that, I roll up Penn Avenue exactly like they rolled up Penn Avenue. I want the militarized thing. I want the AR-15s. I want all of it. I want all of it rolling up. And you don't need all that down there in South Minneapolis. You don't. You can roll up there with 3 cop cars and do what they did yesterday. 3 cop cars. Oh, and the bear if you want to be. But I like to see the bear roll down Penn Avenue. That's what I want to see. I want to see the bear roll down 26. I want to see that militarized army that they had out there with them people. I wanted to go down Lowry. I want you to make go up Lowry. I want you to make a left on 26. I want you to go down to Penn. I want you to go all the way. I want you to make a right, go all the way up to 26, 27, 28, 29. Then I want you to make that right on Humboldt, come all the way down James. Then I want you to go to Broadway, and I want you to just go up and down Broadway, exactly like you was doing in that. That's what I want to see. That's what I want them drug boys to be like. Oh, they out here. And they serious. That's what I want. I want the. Hold on one second. We're here. Hello.
Hey, Reverend Tim. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Death is back.
That sounds like a deal.
Cool.
Yeah. But Dexter, I was just taking everybody through the route that I want the police to take. So the drug boy, because I was telling you, we just had a young mother, shot and killed at this place called Boom Island, in Minneapolis, because we got these fools running around here with these guns, just shooting people. Right. So we need the police out to make that so this stuff is not happening. When it comes to, because it's at a point now, it's out of hand. It's completely. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? So you don't have enough police. Well, this to me, this is an ideal, but you still have laws on the books
Yeah.
that keep people from defending their own communities. So, to me, put it this way: if I were the governor of Minnesota, I would say, well, if we've got any laws on the books that stand in the way of the people's Second Amendment rights, get rid of those. Because and I would encourage people who live in these neighborhoods to arm up and defend themselves, and I'd make whatever resources available to them that I could. If you have a serious shortfall of police, you can't retain them. You're not going to fix that problem right away anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you figure out some genius recruiting thing or whatever it is, it's not going to it's going to take time. And meanwhile, you have streets need patrolling, and you have citizens who want to defend themselves and can't because the laws make it more difficult than it should be. So that's the first thing I do. But I have to say, the very last thing I do is, the problem with bringing the feds in is one of the problems is the feds are less accountable than the local police. It's bad enough the local police are unaccountable enough. The feds are worse because, of course, the headquarters is farther away. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
It's like the political center of power in your city is City Hall. It's the mayor. It's the city council. And that's who the police are, at least notionally, responsible to. Not to say that they're always going to do the right thing, but that's better than having people patrolling your streets who are accountable to someone in Washington. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. See here's the problem that we have, Dexter, is we are a blue state. We're always going to be a blue state.
Exactly.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
I wouldn't say you're always going to be a blue state. Didn't Colorado used to be a red state? Now what is it? On the verge of being blue.
Oh no, this
Colorado used to be a red state.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I got to get when you get out. You're coming. The second place other than you got to go to your mom's and then your daughter's and then you're coming here. When we get you out of there, I'm bringing you to Minnesota so you can see exactly what I complain about all the time. But what I mean by that is these Democrats has thrown these here stupid gun laws all over everywhere, right? And for the life of me, I can't get black people to actually be a part of a gun club or do anything when it comes to guns. Is that me or
who are you approaching? Who are you approaching when you try to get people to join up?
Just black folks.
Like are they online?
Online, offline. People that I walk by in the grocery store. I talk to everybody, Dexter. I talk to all of us.
Okay.
Single women, everybody, right? So it's hard for us to use, and you can be a felon or you can be a thug, and the next thing you know, you're gonna get your gun charge. You can do everything else in the world, but then they drop your gun charges here. See, we have to get back to the point to where we're setting precedent of saying, okay, if you do something with a gun, this is how many years you're going to get. And because of the gun laws and because of things that goes on here, a lot of people just, especially in the black community, just will not buy guns to protect themselves. I wish, but did Dexter still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I wish, but a lot of times that just doesn't happen, man.
Like I hear what you're saying. I mean, I have the feeling that it's the same. I mean, look, similar things to New York, and it's a blue state.
Right.
But isn't it blue mostly because of you're in Minneapolis. The state is the state rather than the city.
The city runs the state.
In other words, is it right? But I'm saying, in terms of opinion, is the state rather than the city?
Yeah.
For example, New York State is a blue state because of New York City. But if you go outside of New York City, it's red. That's
Right.
what I mean.
Yes. That's how it is here. Minneapolis, Minnesota is blue because of Minneapolis, and Rochester and Duluth, pretty much. That's why it is a blue state.
Okay.
I mean,
well, I would say, look, ultimately, it's got to be. Look, if the sentiment really isn't there to defend themselves among the people, then I would say there's almost nothing you can do. Right? Because everything comes from the people.
Right. That dude, you know how many times I've been trying to make people understand that? If I can turn Minnesota back over to the people, you know how powerful we would be? But people don't realize that. They don't see that. They can't see the big picture in that. And people setting laws, people saying this is what I want. This is how how I shouldn't be paying $300 for tabs. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Nobody should be paying $99 should get you a sticker, a tab for your car. How are you paying $300 for a tab? It's crazy to me. I mean, I'm paying almost $600 for tabs for 2 cars for a year. That's to me.
Crazy.
Is that crazy? Man, I can't get people to understand that we don't have to have this. This doesn't have to happen this way, right? And people who got it, I'm sure they're able to do that. That's cool. But there's people who cannot pay. There's people who can't even pay $150 for their tabs. I've talked to people for that. $99 for tabs. Period. Point blank. We're done. We don't even talk about that anymore. But we like I said, we have problems here. And one of the problems is the lack of respect that once you get inside of Hennepin County, it is with the police, right? Because of everything that has been happening. And that was part of what happened yesterday. I wish if you get a chance to look that up, you'll see what happened. But we had clergy, right? Like I said, we had clergy reminding the police chief of what he said, that I would not help ICE if ICE came here. And the problem with yesterday, Dexter, was there was zero information pretty much that was going out. But the information that was going out was wrong because everything came back as an ICE raid, and that's why everybody was upset. That's why there was the pushing and shoving. That's why everything went down. But they were mad because they were told one thing and another thing happened. So that's pretty much what went down on yesterday. And sure enough, and I was going to show something, and I said, something that the right wing's going to sit there and use. And sure enough, if you go to Dusty's page, you see exactly what I said was going to happen. Y'all think I'd just be talking just to talk. I can tell you exactly. I knew who was going to take this situation and do with it what they did. The Democrats, on the other hand, used it to fuel the fire, almost begging people to come out and be on the streets, almost begging people to come out and fight. But I was telling my black brothers and sisters, this isn't our fight, man. Immigration is not, it is just not.
No, it's not.
No.
I mean, it seems, I don't know, like, I would think there's got to be some kind of online interest group or whatever that's like, even if it's not explicitly conservative, even if it's libertarian, it can't be that there's no libertarians in Minnesota or Minneapolis. That can't be the case.
Oh, there are. There's libertarians.
Well, there you go. That might be a good starting place. Maybe. I don't know. put it this way: it's a really interesting problem, and it's a problem we have. Those of us who are conservative and live in blue states, right? Where do you, how do you gather people under your flag, so to speak, right? I've thought about maybe. I've thought about approaching, for example, people who graduated from trade school, right? Because people who have skill sets, people who are in the trades, are much more likely to be independent-minded because they got into the trade to have a measure of independence in the first place. Yeah. So they might also be more liberty-minded. Young Gen Zers are really pissed off at government across the board. They might be ready to hear a different message, right? Where would you find young Gen Zers?
Right.
Are there any colleges in Minnesota? Any colleges in Minneapolis? Well, are there on-campus conservative groups? Those might be some people to reach out to. I mean, there's got to be someone. Doesn't have to be a lot of people. I think when you're planting these seeds, if what you're trying to do is plant seeds, then you can stop thinking like a politician. You don't have to get a majority. Think like a farmer. You just need a handful to start.
Right.
You need a handful of seeds to start. Yeah.
Oh, that's
how I might.
Oh yeah, that's my mindset. Because right now it's one of these here situations where if you're not far right, then you're not conservative. If you're not far left, then we don't want to deal with you if you are conservative. You know what I mean? So I already know the far right and the far left more than likely, we're not going to be able to get along, because it doesn't matter if I say I have conservative values, and even black people are conservative. We at the end of the day, we are a conservative people, right? The Democrats have made us believe that we're not. I just got to get these people to understand that you have always been a conservative people. You understand what I'm saying?
Here's where I disagree with you. The Democrats haven't made us believe anything. Conservatives have given conservatism a terrible reputation. That's the problem.
No, you mean thank you.
The Republican Party, yes, that's what I mean. The Republican Party has not covered the conservative movement in glory. It just has not. Okay, it's not the magical Democrat brainwashing machine. It's Republicans. So but here's the thing. I mean, I would used to talk about if you're right, you need to be on the far right. I mean, I would say who is. How do you know that someone is far right? It's like, are you talking to those people directly, or are you hearing what is said about them?
Most of them I talk to them. I talk to them directly. And most of them, and most of them don't like what I say. And matter of fact, because I was about to talk about this guy who has decided that his whole day was going to be wasted, talking about me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an uphill. It's definitely an uphill battle, bro. It's definitely an uphill battle.
So it's one of those deals. If you're not far right enough, then you're not right, and if you're not far left enough, that means you're not right. Nobody can come to the middle. That's the thing. That's the problem that I see today, and that's why we're in the situation that we're in. Nobody can come back to the middle. Nobody can sit there and say, "Let's have a conversation," right?
Yeah, exactly.
And understand how things are going, or what's going on, what's happening. And like I said, it's just like the situation that happened down in South Minneapolis with that raid. I knew something that a lot of other people didn't know. So I was able to see this thing a lot different than what a lot of people who don't go down to South Minneapolis, who don't deal with anybody down there, who's never talked to clergy, who's never talked to the leaders, because they haven't done that. But yet they feel they got a right to tell me, of all people, how I'm supposed to think, how I'm supposed to act. And I'm sitting there going, You ain't never been
Yeah.
down there. You ain't never spent time.
Right.
You ain't never done anything. But yet you can tell me how? Come on, get out of here, man. I don't have time
Yeah.
for people like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's not easy. And again, like, conservatives, conservatives are very often their own worst enemies. That's just how it is. I mean, it's sad, but it's true.
Yeah. So, it's like, what do we do now? And we see it's like this here. We see the bad parts, but because we're so busy back here fighting, the bad parts just keep getting worse. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Had they, like I'll always say it, no ifs, ands, or buts. George Floyd did not have to die. There was things that could have been done before George Floyd and Derek Chauvin. And Derek Chauvin didn't have to go to jail. But because of the policies and the things that were going on underneath this situation, you got a dead man and a man sitting in prison right now. But things could have been done that situation would have never happened. But because we're so busy fighting somebody who you sit there and go, well, you're not Republican enough. Well, no, Rep, you're not Democratic enough. Look at you. You carry a gun and you speak these conservative viewpoints and blah blah blah. That's what I've been told.
Mm-hmm.
My viewpoints isn't conservative. They're viewpoints that come right out of the book that I read every single day. That's what cracks me up about this stuff, man. That's how you learn this stuff, is when people sit there and tell you that you're this and that and you're that and you're this and whatever.
Yeah, man. It's it's a troubling situation,
Yeah. Hey, but I missed
everywhere,
I missed you on. I didn't know you was on Sonny Johnson.
Yeah. Carl reached out to Sonny and set it up, and there we were.
What were you on?
That was great fun.
Were you on a? Was you in a space, or were you on her series?
Yeah, it was a Twitter space. No, it was a Twitter space.
Oh,
Twitter
I did
space.
not. I did not know. I'm gonna have to step on Carl's toe the first time I see him, because I missed that, man.
Yeah, it was a good talk. You got this one liberal who's kind of self-destructed. It's like one of these guys who comes in, he's talking mad pro-black stuff. It's like, black man, this stuff, that. And when I asked him where he was on the Second Amendment, he gave the exactly wrong answer. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you all pro-black and whatever, and you're not all in on the Second Amendment, then you're not for real.
Oh, was he?
Wasn't for real. He ended up.
He was on one of those black men don't need guns.
He was a black liberal. He was a black liberal, and he's like, we're always being seen as black, and it's a problem, and et cetera. And I'm just like, well, okay. What about the Second Amendment? Where you stand on that? And he went into some whole thing about we need regulations because people there's too many handguns around and this and that. And I'm like, bro, you just came down in Jim Crow's corner. Congratulations.
That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about, man. Exactly how he came out.
Yeah, you just endorsed systemic racism, Congratulations.
That is the type of stuff that I'm talking about right there. That's why I can never get a lot of black people to get into guns, man, because of that mindset that you just talked about.
Yeah, but that mindset can't be universal. I still believe that there's some place maybe that you haven't looked where there's more black. I mean, look, it's like anywhere else, right? If you hear people, the right, for example, talk about how much black folks favor Democrats, you would never imagine that there'd be as many black conservatives as we know there are, for example, on social media. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So that means that probably means that there's some group of hardcore black conservatives in your city, wherever you are. You're gonna find them, and admittedly, some will be harder to find than others. Right? Granted, but I think that it seems to me that they're out there. It seems to me that they're out there. I mean, look, to me, it's like, I don't care whether they identify as Republican. That's a separate. I don't even care if they identify as conservative. If they're just with you on some basic points, then that may be a starting point. They believe in self-defense, so on and so forth. That might be a starting point. They don't have to. Again, it's like the Republicans have ruined their own reputation and don't seem interested in fixing it. So that is what it is. But yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
All kinds of problems.
Cool beans. Hey, say I gotta jump off of this thing. My grandson's got an 8:00 game, so I gotta eat something here real quick, and then we gotta get out of here and head to the baseball field here. But yeah, I just jumped on here.
Well, enjoy the game, bro.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy the game.
Yes, sir. That sounds like a deal. But I'll be talking to you soon. Well, I gotta, you know what? Because we're in tournament week. Sunday we may not hook up on this Sunday. So if call, I don't know what your schedule is, because I know you do something with Joe and everybody else during the week.
Yeah.
I'll hit.
But we can always find time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, because I know we going, like I said, after this game it'd be tournament week, so I know we'll be playing all week with everything. So let me get through this here week, and then we'll get back on it on the Sundays.
Sounds good, brother.
Perfect. Appreciate you, Dex.
Always good to talk to you, man.
Hey, back at you, man.
Bless.
God bless. We'll talk to you soon. All righty. Bye now.
All right.
Always good to have. Like I said, I didn't know he was going to call in, but it's a good thing that he did. But I got to get out of here. I got my grandson plays here at 8:00, and so we got to eat something, and then we got to go. But I just wanted to talk about one other person here real quick. So because they think, like I said before, because people think that because I don't believe the way that they believe, or I don't see things the way that they see things, they should call me names. And then when they call me names, they think that I shouldn't, like this dude right here. So when they call me names, they think that I shouldn't block them. The only time that you're going to get blocked from me is if you get nasty, you start calling me names, or if you do something racist. More than likely, you're going to be gone bye-bye. So I blocked this dude here, and he spent pretty much all day yesterday, this dude. He spent pretty much all day yesterday going around throwing dirt on my name with this person here. So, like I said, she's upset. This one is upset because of my statement that I made. And the reason I made that statement is because I knew what was going on. I knew what was said. I knew how things were supposed to be. And when it didn't happen and those people got upset, they were going to be down there pushing people around, throwing people to the ground. And that's exactly what. So go to any video of what the protests on yesterday, and watch what the police do. Whether or not the people was going at them, was doing, that was going to happen. That's exactly why I said what I said, because I knew exactly what was going to happen. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's why I didn't take my butt down there, because I wasn't going to get pepper sprayed. They was pepper spraying people. I've been pepper sprayed too many times to want to get pepper sprayed again. Not happening. Not happening. But again, like I said before, if they want to bring out the big dogs and they want to cruise around Minneapolis, I've got areas in Minneapolis. I would love for you to cruise around with all of that stuff. I would love to see the police out doing their damn job without anyone bothering them. And the places that I tell you that you need to go to cut down the crime, to take care of the guns, to take care of the drugs, ain't nobody going to bother you. They're not going to be bothered. And the only reason that people was out there yesterday, I believe, just going off what I believe, is because they said ICE. Now, the other 8 raids that they did, nobody knew about them. Nobody said nothing about ICE or anything. But the minute it was somebody said ICE and they ran with that story, that's why everybody was. If it was a drug bust, they would probably open the doors and let them in. If it was a drug bust, they would probably open the doors and let them in. Because everybody down there is sitting there going, we don't want to deal with the druggies and we don't want to deal with the drug users. But when you got a mayor, you got a governor, and you got a police chief. Hold on, let me say that again. When you got a mayor, when you got a governor, and you got a police chief saying that you have a sanctuary city and nobody's going to come in here and mess with these people who are breaking the law, then you're going to get that reaction that you got yesterday. That's just the truth, man. That's why I always tell people, go down there and talk to people down there. So you can understand that when things happen like that, you can understand why people got that reaction. You can understand why people are doing and saying the things that they say. Now, the Democrats on yesterday that's in office that decided to try to gaslight that situation, that was pathetic. That was pathetic. Each and every one of them need a boot in the ass for what they did. Instead of them coming out and quelling that situation, which they could have. They could have easily said, you know what? Hold on. I made a phone call. I made a phone call to the sheriff, and the sheriff said that there's no one that's out there that's taking anybody. This is a drug thing. Misinformation is what was going on. That's what was going on. But if ICE rolled up into Minneapolis, they got to do their job, man. They have to do their job. And their job is to take people who are not supposed to be in the state of Minneapolis. I am 110% behind that. Now, if you're here and you got here the right way, we'll take care of you. There's no problem with that. But what you're not going to do, you're not going to jump the fence. You're not going to jump on a bus and come as far up north as you possibly can to get away and then think you're going to walk the streets of Minneapolis. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You can get mad at me if you want for saying what I said. That's fine. But we have to respect the law, and we have to respect the law, the people who are supposed to be out there making sure that the law is being done. Period, point blank. Correct? That's what I thought. But anyway, Friday, I'll be back. More than likely Friday, I'll be back to hang out with you and things of that sort. I got to get Brad to send me that picture because Brad and I went to a ice cream place. Not an ice cream. An ice cream place. We went to, where did we go yesterday? We had a pretty good time. I went there and I had myself an ice cream and everything. Oh, here we go. We went to the Patriots in the Park ice cream social to kick off the summer. It was hosted by the SD 38 Republican Committee. SD 38 Republican Committee. That's where Brad and I was at yesterday. So we was out there talking to people, eating ice cream, and the whole nine. So we had a good time on that. So I want to say thank you to the the host of SD 38 Republican Committee. We had a good time meeting everybody, talking to everybody yesterday, and this was held in Brooklyn Park on yesterday. So we got that opportunity to go and meet some people on yesterday. So thank you guys very much for having Brad and myself. We definitely appreciate you guys' time, and everybody that showed up there yesterday. Also, we got to meet some really, really good people, had an opportunity to talk to some really, really nice people. So we appreciate you, each and every one of you. And like I said before, and let's make sure that, again, we understand where I stand. I believe in the law. I believe in doing what the law says. I believe in the book that tells me to believe in the law. So if you want to know where I stand, know that part. Know that part. Anyway, hey, I got to get out of here though. Y'all have a good tomorrow, Thursday. Y'all have a good Thursday. We'll see you guys on Friday, and then we'll kick up something else. More than likely by Friday, I will more than likely have some more dust to kick up, and somebody else will be mad at me, and that'll get Brad cracked me up. Brad called me probably about 20 times today. Brad calls me up. Oh, Rev, you can't text such and such. I'm looking at Brad. Dude, I'm me. I ain't changing for nobody. For nobody. Half of the people who complain about something that I text anyway is looking for a reason to get their 15 minutes. So that's why I give them 15 minutes. So, but at the end of the day, know that. I'm me. I ain't changing. Period, point blank. I believe that this state of Minnesota can be turned back to the people. I believe that the state of Minnesota can be turned back to the people. And that's what this whole thing should be about. You can disagree with me. That's cool. Let's have that conversation. Like I always say it. If you got something that I say something that, that's off, do me a favor. I'll put you right there. I will put you right there. And we can have a conversation. But the problem is you always got those who are afraid. And what they do, they hide behind, hold on, I'll show you. I unblocked this guy for a second. I unblocked this guy for a second, but it's like this guy right here. I'm about to block him again, right? I've asked him over and over, dude, come from behind your little picture, and let's have a conversation, because you going out on Twitter and calling me weak and calling me a grifter and all this here type of stuff. It doesn't work. If I'm gonna call somebody a name, I'm gonna do it to their face. I'm not gonna talk behind your back. I'm gonna do it right here to your face. So that's why I keep telling this dude, hey, come on, we can have this conversation. I have no problem with that. Yeah, y'all have a good day. I'll talk to you guys on Friday. Appreciate y'all, and thanks Dexter for coming and hanging out with us also. Peace, fam. I'm out.